Hey everyone, welcome back, and let's write some more Leetcode today. So today let's solve another graph problem, walls and gates. So we're given an m by n grid where each position could have three possible values. A -1, which represents a wall, aka an obstacle that we're not allowed to visit. We're not allowed to visit these walls. A 0, which identifies a gate, so this is an example of a gate in this case. And the third value is infinity, which basically represents an empty room. And basically for every single empty room, aka every position that's marked as infinity initially, we want to identify what's the nearest gate to that room, and then we want to take the distance from that room to the nearest gate and then replace that infinite value with it. And if it is impossible, basically if an empty position cannot reach a gate in our graph, then basically we're going to leave that position as infinity. So for example, let's take a look at this example. The easiest one over here, right? How far away is this empty room from a gate? Well, it can go in two directions. It can go down, which is an obstacle, so we're not allowed to travel in that way. We can't go up or to the right, those are out of bounds, but we can go to the left, and of course, right next to it happens to be a gate. So what we're going to place here is a 1, meaning this is one position away from a gate. And similarly, this one, how far away is this from a gate? Well, 1, 2, 3 positions, right, from a gate. So we could put a 3 here, we could put a 2 here, and a 1 here. What about this one? We could go 1, 2, 3, so it's 3 positions from this gate, but it happens to be that there's a closer gate if we go to the right and then we go up, right? So the closer gate is actually 2 places away, so we're going to put 2 in this position. And now what happens if there was a gate over here? What would we mark these two as? Well, basically they start out as infinity, and we would leave these 2 positions as infinity. So any positions that cannot visit a gate are going to be remaining as infinity. So the first idea that you might have for this problem is basically for every position we want to know what's the closest gate. Why can't we just run a DFS, right? Basically a DFS until we reach the gate, or, we reach as many positions as we can. We return what was the closest gate to that position, right? And then do that for every single position in the entire grid. Now, what's the time complexity going to be of that? Well, a DFS is going to basically be the size of the grid, and we're going to do that for every single position in the grid. So basically, it's going to be something like m by n squared. So the question is, can we do better than this big O time complexity? Well, let's try out a BFS solution, right? We tried DFS. Let's try out breadth first search and see what that leads to us. Let's say we started our BFS at some arbitrary position like this one. Is it possible that we can eliminate repeated work if we do that? Well, we're going to start here and then visit in all 4 directions and see what's the closest gate that we can get to. So starting here, we have a distance of 0. It takes us a distance of 1 to get to these positions. And then finally, we can get a distance of 2 to get this position, right? But since we don't want to revisit the same node twice, the same position twice, we're going to do exactly that. Once we get to a position, we're going to leave it as visited. So, if we go from here to here, it takes us 2 positions. So, then we can say, okay, for this position, it took us 2. But when we go up, right, we get to this position, we can't really go in any other direction. So basically, this is going to be remaining as a dead end. We're never going to get a distance in this position, right? Because we don't want to revisit the same position twice. We can't go back in the direction that we came from. So a BFS solution starting from the rooms is not going to work if we want to get an actual O of m by n solution. It's not going to work if we do it from the rooms, but let's reverse our thinking a bit. Why don't we do a BFS solution from the gates? So for example, from this gate, we can say, okay, let's mark all adjacent rooms basically as saying, okay, all of the adjacent rooms are 1 distance away from this gate. And then let's continue that. So from, this room doesn't have any other rooms adjacent to it, but this room does. So we can say, okay, for this room, it's 2, and this room, it's also 2. This is 2 positions away from this gate. And we continue, right? We say, okay, this room is 3, and continue from here. This room is 4, and from here, similarly, right, we'd say, okay, this is 3, this is 4, and this is 4, right? But is that actually true? Is this room 4 positions away? Well, we forgot about this gate, right? So a better way of doing this would be to simultaneously do a BFS from both gates at the exact same time. So in that case, if we ever reach a position. So let's see what happens when we do a BFS simultaneously. So from here, we're going to say this is one, these two are one position, and this is also one position. Now from all of our ones, we're going to continue the BFS, right? So from this one, we'll say these rooms are 2 away. From this one, we'll say this room is 2 away, right? Now from this room, right? This is 2 away. We're not going to go to this position and say that it's 3 positions away, because this has already been visited. We've already found the minimum distance that this is away from a BFS, right? So every time we expand one layer, we're saying, okay, first let's find all the rooms 1 distance away from a gate. Next, let's find all the rooms 2 distance away from the gate, and 3, and we keep doing that until every single position in our grid has already been visited, or we basically cannot continue. And we know BFS solutions are implemented with a queue, so once our queue is empty, that's how we know we can stop. So let's just continue a little bit more. So from this 2, the only unvisited neighbor is this one, so this is 3 positions away. This one is also here. So now we're going to do a BFS from the remaining 3s. We can see only this 3 actually has a neighbor, so we'll say this one is going to be 4. And when you take a look at the actual output that they built, our solution exactly matches what they did, and we didn't have to revisit the same node twice. All we had to do was initialize our queue with the 2 initial positions for the gates, and then expanding outwardly, basically incrementing the distance every time we complete a full layer of our BFS traversal. And that actually led to us having a time complexity of m by n. We're also going to have that as the memory complexity, because we're going to have a visit set to make sure we don't visit the same position twice. But once you kind of know that this is going to be a BFS from multiple sources at the same time, implementing the code is pretty straightforward if you know how to do BFS. So first things first, let's get the dimensions of our grid. So the number of rows and the number of columns. I usually like to do this at the beginning. And we're also going to have a visit set that is going to make sure that we don't visit the same position multiple times. And we're also going to have a queue, which initially let's set to being empty, but we're going to initialize that with the gates first of all, right? So now let's go through every single position and actually initialize our queue, right? And we know we're just going to do that with the gates. So we're going to have to go through the entire grid. So iterating over the entire grid. And even though we're doing this, it's not actually going to change the overall time complexity. So we're going to go through every position. If rooms at this position is equal to a gate, meaning it's equal to a 0, then we're going to add it to our queue. So we're going to say queue.append this position, and let's make sure to add it to the visit set, because we don't want to have to visit this same position twice. And now we can actually start doing our BFS. So initially the distance is going to be 0, because we're going to be popping the actual gates first of all. So we're going to say while queue is non-empty, we're going to go through every single position in the queue currently, right? Basically this layer of the queue. And so we're going to be popping from the queue. So pop left from this queue, we're going to get the coordinates of the gates that we initially added, right? That's going to be the first layer. The first layer we're going to be popping are the gates that we just added, right? So for each gate, we're basically going to say, okay, let's change this gate to being the current distance. So since the current distance is initially 0, and remember the gates start out as having a value of 0, we're not actually going to be modifying the value of the gates. But the reason I'm putting this line here is because after we pop the gate layer, the next layer that we're going to add to our queue is going to be all the rooms that are 1 distance away. So after this for loop, let's make sure that we remember to increment our distance by 1 every time we complete a full layer of the queue. And so basically for this room, let's just go ahead and add room. We're going to add every single neighbor of this room. And you can see I haven't actually defined that function yet. So let's do that up above once I actually write this out. So basically what I'm doing is going to be adding all 4 adjacent rooms to the queue. And we obviously know that some of these rooms might be out of bounds. Some of them might have already been visited. That's why I'm going to put this in a helper function to basically abstract some of that logic for us. So let's define the function up above over here. So add room, we're just going to pass in a couple coordinates. So basically if this row is less than 0, or if the row is out of bounds, meaning it's too big, meaning it's equal to the number of rows, Or the exact same thing for column, if column is less than 0, or column is too big, or if this position, row column, has already been visited, or one last condition, basically if this room is a wall or an obstacle, right? Because remember, not every position in our graph is a empty room. It's possible it could be a obstacle, meaning it's equal to -1. So if any of these above conditions is true, we're going to immediately return because this is an invalid room. So we're not going to actually add it to the queue or the visit set. But if it's not invalid, that's when we can go ahead and say, okay, visit.add to the hash set and go ahead and queue.append to the hash set as well. Right, so basically you can see why I'm putting this stuff inside of a helper function, because we don't want to have to call that 4 times. And I don't really want to put a loop in here because I just think it's kind of messy. I'd rather just write it out like this. But so with all of that done, we can see that we have added the rooms. We're making sure to increment the distance every time we complete a layer. And we're basically going through rooms, labeling what's the minimum distance from that room to a gate. Once we're done with that, we don't actually have to return anything because we just have to modify the rooms to the array in place. So this is all the code that we're actually going to have to write. So you can see that this solution is efficient. We're basically visiting the entire grid a couple times, I think 2 or 3 times, because of course we have this initial loop and then we actually have to run our BFS solution, but it's still a linear time solution with respect to the size of the input array. So I hope that this was helpful. If it was, please like and subscribe. It supports the channel a lot, and I'll hopefully see you pretty soon. Thanks for watching.